Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hi, and welcome back to Given Chaos
with your host, MJ.
And I'm Marjorie, and today we'll be talking about
family. Yes.
Family. So did you want to start it off because you did suggest this topic? Go ahead.
I suggested this topic for this week is because, I realized, I don't know, when I was younger, I've always pictured a perfect family,
What do you mean by perfect family?
Like everyone is happy, they all get along, there's no arguments, and there's no problems within the family. Everyone gets along basically.
So
it's like a peaceful ride, like a boat.
So in your head, you thought there would be no arguments, and there were arguments. That's not a normal family.
Well, I thought fighting is
Fighting?
Yeah.
What's the difference between fighting and arguments?
Well, fighting isn't that physical between an argument where they talk back, or is fighting?
Fighting for me is when you're no longer listening to the other person and you're yelling and you just want your point across. But of course, physical fighting is fighting. That's fighting. But I feel like if there's any physical fighting, that is now another line crossed. I feel like arguments and yelling and fighting is one thing, but if it gets physical, that means that's another thing for me. It's another line crossed.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I wanted to talk about it today. And the reason, and also I searched up online about why family isn't important.
Isn't important or it is?
No, it is important.
Okay, go ahead.
Why did you think? Did you say it's not?
I thought you said isn't important.
No, family definitely is important because it says right here on Google when you search it up.
Yes, why? Google's always right.
Yeah, it says. No, I just wanted to see what Google would say, if somebody is having issues, because some people they think they don't see people's life with their family, you know what I mean? Because everyone has different
doesn't
family.
match up to
yeah,
families. Families are different. Each family's different,
and people think it's the same, which there are
sorry about that.
There are similarities, but there's also differences as well. But anyways, what I searched up on the internet, because some people do search it up, it says why family is important. It says family is important because it provides love, support, and a framework of values to each of its members. That's what it says.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Why?
What is your definition of family to you without Google? What is your definition of Google? Of me? What's your definition of Google? What is your definition of family?
Well, I feel like family is people you can rely on if you have no friends or no one else to contact you. That's what I think family is. People to rely on if you have no one. Since you have no one else to rely on. Yeah.
Okay.
And Mm-hmm.
Family to me is also, it doesn't have to be blood related. It's a strong connection that, like you said, is there for each other no matter what time or issues could never break that bond. So time will never break that bond, and any arguments or disagreement between each other will not break that bond. And you guys are genuinely there for each other as emotional support. And
but in some cases that's not how it happens.
Do you believe blood is thicker than water? Do you know what that term means?
Nope.
You don't know what that term means?
Can you just explain it to me?
Yeah. So that term, blood is thicker than water, basically means, when people say that to you, it basically means that whoever is related to you, blood related to you, you're supposed to, they go above anybody that's not blood related to you. That makes sense. Let's say your friend is fighting with your sister or your brother. When people say blood is thicker than water, it's stating that you're supposed to take your blood relative side no matter what.
Oh, take your family first then others.
Your blood related family. That's what it's stating. That's what that term is. So if you're fighting with your sibling and they're taking their friend's side, and some people say blood is thicker than water, because people just assume that because you're related, you're supposed to be hold their back no matter what, have their back no matter what.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But for you, for your friend to be relying on your friend, that's not family, right? Is that what you're
No.
saying? Well,
So what I'm saying is that term is blood thicker than water is not always right.
okay, it's not always right. Okay.
Yes. Because just because you're blood related doesn't mean, just because a person is blood related to you doesn't mean that they're always gonna have
You're back.
they're always gonna have that connection with you, and that includes cousins, not just siblings too. So like cousins, because there's always those cousins that you don't know. Like sometimes, like if you have a big family, or if you just have a distant family, it doesn't have to be a big family. If you have a distant family and your family's just generally not close, you may have a many like relatives that are blood related to you, but your friend has a stronger connection to you and has been there before you. For you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and family doesn't have to be blood related, because sometimes family can't always be there for you. They can't be the foundation for love and support. And you might have to find those with other people that is able to give it to you. And that could also mean that they're also can be your family as well. Even if you're not blood related, they can be your family. Especially if you're adopted, right?
Yes, of
in
course.
You're in an adopted family, you have like a bunch of siblings and you guys are all different. You guys are still family because they represent love, support, and the foundation
for love. Yes.
and the foundation to grow.
Oh my god.
About that's why I have to say, people, I think school should like enforce like the ideal, like families are not perfect. You know, people think that families are perfect.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't think the school system really cares
About families.
It's not,
but I feel like when people like in high school or like when they're young, they have issues with family, and that's like the reason why maybe they're not doing schoolwork, or maybe
I know. But here's the thing. Like you said, all families are different. Some are gonna be dealing with issues that are very more drastic and intense than others inside the household. So what the school system is, you have to remind you what the school system is there. It's there for your education. That's what it's made for. So it's not supposed to get that personal. But it will get personal if it's needed. Like if a student is failing because something inside in their household is happening, but it's not they don't try to
you don't think they should go in our personal lives that much, just like a little bit to know what's happening with their student.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I feel like you're there for school. They're there to teach you your education. They're not gonna be there to try to be personal. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm like, if you bring up the family, you can, but it's like it's going beyond what it's going the extra mile. It's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. And so
I mean, you can. It's nice to have those conversations, because in class it is boring to have those typical conversations that are just about the book, the textbook, and it is nice to have those conversations that are personal. But then again, you have to remind you what is school for.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. It's because whenever, of course, when you're young, you get like more closer with your childhood friends, and you guys talk about your personal issues. You know, like, hey, this is happening in my family. I don't like how my family's like this and like that. And you get to see, like, when I heard like my friends not getting along with their siblings, or like sometimes they would get along with their parents, I'm just like, oh wow, we're kind of similar and different in the same ways, you know. Go
ahead.
And also, I think why we also have similarities and differences within our families and how they're structured is because of the parents, because they teach you what is right and wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so that's why it's kind of different. Like, hey, why do some of my friends get they are able to tell their parents like, hey, can I go out? I'll be back. And like, yeah, I think it's also because of like culture wise, or how your parents raise you. You know what I mean?
It's definitely the parents and culture wise. Like you're stating how like some parents are more open to their children than others.
Yeah, and I was like, why is not like our family like that? I wish our family could be like open. Or in some people, they don't want to be open. They're like, oh, I hate it when my parents want to get close to me.
Like nosy.
Yeah. It just shows like how like families have so much imperfections and we keep comparing ourselves to other families, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean. But
Mm-hmm.
like you said, when it comes to culture thing, and it's definitely a generational thing because our parents are very, very traditional Filipinos.
Mm-hmm.
And that was because they were raised in the Philippines. Like their parents raised them a certain way, and our grandparents were raised a certain way. It's totally generation thing. And so when they come here to United States, where parents are just generally a little bit more open, to their kids, they found that very foreign and very hard because for us, when you have like that friend or that classmate where they have an open parent, you're like, oh, it should be easy for my parents to be like that, or like, why is my parents not like that? But you have to realize that your parents, it's so hard for them because it's foreign. It's not like a switch that they be like, oh, my child wants to be parented like this, because they can't turn that switch on and off because they're raised and like it was almost like a system in their head that was already there. You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah.
Like their culture's hard. They can't just flip it
And
on and
it's
off.
also too when you want, if you do have like a relationship with your parents that is terrible, and so when you go to therapy, your therapist is gonna be like, oh, maybe you can rebuild your relationship with your parents. Maybe if you start doing this, then they'll able. But it's not that simple when a therapist tells you that, because of the systems are already built, and it's hard. It's hard for people to change, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to change.
You have to put yourself in their shoes because they are already raised like this, and it's almost like someone that you don't know telling you how to live your life. I mean, not someone that you don't know, but like it's like somebody outside of yourself telling you how to live your life. Does that make sense? Like just in general, like you have your own traditions. Like you wake up, you make your bed, maybe you brush your teeth before you make your bed, maybe you make your bed before you brush your teeth. It's someone like, and you've been doing that for years, right? You already have that in you. You're that habit, and then you have somebody telling you, hey, you're supposed to be doing it. Like, you're not supposed to be brushing your teeth before you make your bed. You're supposed to make your bed before you brush your teeth, or, vice versa. And that's not how you're used to doing it. And all of a sudden, someone is coming at you like, oh, you're supposed to do it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to put yourself in their shoes to, like, understand that it's hard. Like, if you're waking up one day and somebody's telling you to do a certain way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And some cider.
By the way, guys, we have a new background setup, as you can see. I just wanted to change it up because I didn't like the other side of the room. And also, I bought a mic for Auntie Marjorie, so now we don't have to fight over the mic.
Yep.
And she also got some apple cider.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree with Auntie Marjorie that.
But then again, like, even though, like I said, it is like it's a habit now because our grandparents, nobody had told them to like become more open to their kids, which is why our parents is not open to us. So nobody had told them that. That's why our parents are not very open to the idea of changing or opening up, like changing their parenting ways. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And in our tradition, it's very disrespectful if you make any suggestions
or say your opinion. They think you're talking back,
like,
in a rude way, you know.
It's very like, and when it's like disrespectful, if you like to them, if you suggest anything, it's almost like what they're doing is not enough. It's like, oh, so it's almost like you're. They always think as a
Auntie, what are you trying to say? Speak it up, girl.
It's almost like what am I trying to say?
Talking back? Disrespectful words? What are you trying to say?
I feel like as a parent in our tradition, your child's opinion doesn't matter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Especially if you don't agree with that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And just them talking to you, it is a way of like talking back. Well, talking back. It's just they won't take it in consideration. Consideration, yes.
Yeah, that's what I realized. And here in the countryside, the western side of the world, it's okay for their children to say, oh, hey, mom, I think this is a better way for you to do this. And they're like, oh, okay. And yeah, it's different. It's just different how people with their values and morals. And I feel like we're a generation, I feel like we need to step it up and not be like this. Well, what do you think? Do you think we should keep our traditions? Like some of our traditions.
What traditions are you trying to keep?
Like, should we be like strict as well? Because I can understand why our parents were kind of strict on us with like having a specific time to go home, because the world is dangerous.
It's crazy.
It's dangerous. Like, do you think we should keep that? Yeah, in the house. But there's also like things with like talking back, of course. Like when your child is trying to suggest an opinion to you, are you gonna?
I feel like I get it in one way. I get it because it's almost like your child was born after you, and in your head they don't know as much as you do. Yeah. Does that make sense? And you almost don't respect. Like, I feel like parents in our generations, they don't respect any opinions given from their children. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like their any like suggestions that their child have, it may not be necessarily disrespectful to say it, but they won't consider it and they won't respect it, especially if they disagree with it. So if they agree with it, that's one thing. Yeah. But if they don't agree with it, they won't respect it, and then they will like, what's it called? They will like not listen to you. Yeah. Because in their heads, you don't know anything. And that's what I don't like. Like like those. It's not necessarily like you talking to them or talking back to them. It's like they just don't respect your opinions. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, there's like some things we can keep from our parents that they teach us. Teach us. Me and Auntie Marjorie are terrible with our vocabulary here. Okay, please bear with us. Damn it. But that's what I was saying. I was like, there's specific things that we can like keep from our parents that they've taught us, but there's specific things that I want to change for my family. And so I want my children to be open with me. I don't want them to be like silent and like we don't have a good bond, because there's some children, I could understand it, some children don't want to have a bond with their parents, and that's like, is that okay? Or that's okay, right? What I'm about to say is, I know you're talking about like open up and more emotional. I have to.
It depends.
Okay, I have to, like, as a parent, I guess as a child's view, you don't understand if, like, let's say you feel like your parent is not, you feel like you can't open up to your parents, right? Because you don't feel like comfortable with them, and you wish that they were more of a parent that you feel more comfortable to open up to. Or let's say they have a parent that is just like busy all the time, right? I feel like in a child's view, a child thinks that it should be easy for a parent to open up, but you have to understand from a parent's view, like, especially if you're a single parent or whatever, just even if you're not a single parent, it's just hard on a daily basis
to be open up.
To be working a 9 to 5, okay? Working a 9 to 5, coming home tired AF. Now, it's not an excuse, but you have to put this point of view in consideration. Coming home from 9 to 5, coming home tired AF, and then cooking and doing whatever, right? And then I feel like as a parent, you try your bestest for your child no matter what, and everything you do for them. And you struggle for them to keep a roof over their head, put food in their mouth, and it becomes a cycle to the point where you don't have necessarily any other time. You barely have time for yourself, but any other like time to like sit down and talk, which is very important, because you like, it's almost like you're in a routine. You wake up, you go to work, you come home tired.
You can make it a routine to make time,
I know.
For your child.
But that's a child's point of view. That's what I'm saying. Like, a child will be upset because they don't understand that point of view. You know what I mean? Okay. Because as a child, I didn't understand that. Like, as a child, I was like, oh, you have time. Oh, you are here like at least 2 hours after work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
it. But
it.
I didn't work at the time. And now that I work,
it's like, tiring.
I'm tired. And just the idea of, I'm tired working just for me, just to like pay my bills. But imagine like living for another human being, and another human being like relying on you. Because you have to understand, as a teenager, you don't make money. You rely on your parents. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it's their responsibility to make sure you're not starving or you're not homeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that reminds me too, like when we were young, sometimes our parents would be busy, like they're not able to help us with homework or pick us up from school. And so you're gonna have to learn how to do things on your own or depend on other people besides your parents or
And
siblings,
I'm not saying it's an excuse, because as a parent, it's not your only responsibility is not to just support. That is the least that you can do, like financial support.
Yeah.
Because as a parent, it's way more than that. If you think parenting is just financial support, I'm sorry, but you're not a good, like that's not enough. Okay, because you, like,
It's a responsibility.
You need emotional support.
And you need to build a relationship with your child.
Yes.
That's what you have to maintain. Because if you don't maintain that, of course, you're going to have this broken, like, family you're not going to talk to.
Exactly.
And that's not going to teach you love, support, and what you need. That's why people nowadays are looking for that.
Yes. I'm not saying that, of course, financial support is very important, because without financial support, your child is going to be homeless. But I'm saying that financial is not the only thing that you should be parenting. If you do that, it's gonna be very hard. Your relationship is very difficult.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
You burped.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
but
continue.
you know what I'm saying, right?
Yes, I know what you're saying. But thank you for Auntie Marj for saying that. But anyways, I wanted to. We're gonna talk about these topics that the internet has said.
Sorry.
Yes, continue.
But I also want to say that emotional support, like you said, it's not an excuse because you work hard, because you work and you're tired. That's not an excuse. It's never an excuse, especially if you're a parent. You should always make time, because just like you're struggling to support for your family, and although it's tiring, you should come home, and even though, like I said, like an hour, talk, dinner time talk, even though you're tired. As a parent, you're going to be tired, and you should know that. The moment that you decide to be a parent, you should know that it's going to be tiring, but it's going to be worth it. So being tired, it's never an excuse. It's never an excuse.
Yeah.
Because parenting is going to be tired, and it's not an excuse.
Yes, it's not easy.
Because that child is going to grow up. If that child doesn't have any emotional support, that child is going to grow up distant from you. And
I want to add something. I want to say it with that.
I have one more thing to say.
Oh, but I have to continue, because that's connected to what I was gonna say.
What was I gonna say is, and just some people, like some parents, especially foreign parents, they like foreign parents. Like
wait, what? Like, foreign? Wait, what'd you say?
Parents from other, like, immigrants.
Okay.
Like in their head, like, support, as long as you financially support them, that's enough. But that's not enough, because when that child grows up, they can financially support themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And they will no longer financially need you. And if they don't financially need you, and you have nothing to offer, like no emotional support, there's like nothing beyond financial. Like, why? Like, what kind of parent were you? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because now, growing up, when you get older, like, that's very little. They don't need that. They need like emotional support the most. You know what I mean?
Yes. No. So yeah. Okay, so that.
Thank you.
I know what you're watching. I know what you're trying to reach, but I want to reach some points that we could also talk about.
Go ahead.
I know what you're trying to say to us. The audience understands you. Okay. But that's what you're saying. So. Excuse me, I was gonna say something.
Oh, one more thing.
No, shut the fuck up, bitch. Anyways,
Miss Google.
I'm trying to answers that's connected to your question. Okay. Okay. So on Google that I searched up on what people say. This is the importantsite.com. It says 10 reasons why family is important. It gives you 10 reasons why family is important. Yes, pour that in while I tell you. Goodness gracious, woman. And it says here, number 1.
Was that no more? You wanted some? I have another bottle.
Damn, auntie, it's fine. I still have a lot of juice. But by the way, show the bottle. What you got?
Oh, it's just that Thanksgiving apple cider that you always get.
It's pomegranate, not
it's
apple.
Pomegranate. Yeah, it's pomegranate apple.
You know what it really tastes? It doesn't really taste like pomegranate. It tastes like apple to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, let me continue. It says right here, for number 1, for the 10 reasons why family is important, it says families set the stage for future relationships. The very first relationships a child is with their parents, and any siblings. Whether healthy or not, these relationships provide a model for what future relationships will look like. It's often not a conscious decision, but for better or worse, people often choose partners and friends based on how similar they are to their family. What do you think about that?
I absolutely agree.
Yes, that's why I said family's fucking important, because it raises you on what you want to find.
Which is why I have all toxic men.
Because our parents are toxic.
I absolutely agree. Okay, what was I gonna say? My last point before you cut me off.
Because that was there's more of these the 10 reasons that are connected to your freaking questions. Okay, continue, girl.
But I was saying, like, as the
Labrador,
as the baby grows up, right?
Who's the baby girl?
Not the baby girl, just the baby, just a human. You.
Oh, why'd you say baby girl?
I didn't say baby girl. I said baby.
Continue.
Okay. As the baby grows up, like I said, beyond their financial support, like a child still needs their emotional support after they're no longer financially able. Okay. Okay. Bye. Whatever.
I already heard you. Yeah, you repeated it like 4 times.
Make sure they got it.
You repeated it 3 times to be exact. Okay.
Okay. So, anyways, with the toxic family, what was I saying?
You agree with that because she finds people that are toxic, especially me too. We meet toxic people because our family's toxic.
Okay, what was I saying with that? It's because growing up, my parents were not very lovey-dovey, and they fought all the time, right? All the time.
And we thought that was for me, I thought it was normal for parents to fight a lot, but it's actually not. Well, actually, do you think it's healthy for parents to let out their emotions instead of because I know some parents, they don't even talk to each other after a fight. They just become silent.
Yeah, because they're like you. They don't like arguments. So they just walk away.
So what do you think is better, to like argue what you want to say?
I feel like as long as you listen to the other person, if you're listening to the other person,
they're not listening.
Yeah, exactly. If they're not listening to each other, there's no point.
Yeah.
Because if you're not listening to each other, there's no point. It's just noise. But to speak out your emotions and your feelings, that's great. But if the moment that you're not listening to the other person's point of view, it's pointless.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with disagreements. There's nothing wrong with arguments. As long as you're listening and taking whatever the other person is saying, then that's fine.
It's sad though, because sometimes they can say negative things about you and you're also listening, and sometimes you listen mostly to the negative things they say about you.
So you're saying that you're breaking out anything else?
It causes your mental health to
degrade?
Yeah. And it's bad too when some parents, they say negative things to each other, especially it can really degrade your mental health, and also maybe your kids too, because they're like back then I could understand what our dad was saying to our mom and what mom and dad were saying to each other.
You mean to them, like them? Like, I'm confused. The parents talking back to their child, like, or is it parents just arguing to each other, like
arguing to each other? And it showed me that's not a relationship you should say to someone you loved and married. You know what I mean? Like, it shows what not to be in a relationship, not to say negative things about them. That's what I'm saying. I don't care if they say negative things about. Obviously.
We do, but just not as much.
Yeah, and so it showed me that you're not supposed to say negative things to someone you love.
Here's the thing, okay?
Why?
I grew up watching our parents do that.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I guess monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey do. You know that? You don't know what that saying is? That's how you know she's so young. Monkey see, monkey do means.
What does it do though?
When your parent, when you're raising a child, you know why people don't let you cuss in front of their child, right?
So they don't
learn to do that. It's as a child, you're developing, your brain is developing, and whoever is around them, whatever they tend to do, that child will pick up that habit.
Yeah.
So that's what that saying says, because monkeys do the same thing apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, like I said, monkey see, monkey do. Like when I saw my parents do that, in my head, a relationship could go on even if it's toxic. Does that make sense? Because our parents have been together for 25 years? Way beyond 25 years?
Maybe 30.
30 years? Okay, let's just say
I
25 to
don't
30
know.
years.
I'm guessing. Why are you asking me?
But they